Oh no. What do we have here?
Cape and his medallion.
You.
What? You don't scare me.
I don't want to scare you. I want to drink your blood. Because guess what? We're already live, and only a vampire can create another vampire.
You're already live. Look at that.
So bend your neck over, would you please?
No, I won't, please.
Let me see that neck.
No. You can
do me a
bend
favor,
your
my
own
friend.
neck over.
I'm already here. I've already gained eternal life. Or shall we say, eternal death.
Eternal death. Oh.
Say hi to your girlfriend.
Hello. To Crazy Girls, Oddities, and Adventures.
I think she is an adventurer. I'll give her that much.
Oddities, Adventures,
And she must be an oddity to associate with the likes of him.
Aren't you funny?
Laugh.
Aren't you a funny little man?
Come on, laugh. That's fine. That's fine. Yes, laugh. Enjoy your laugh. Because you will laugh into eternity. Yes, you will. Yeah, you already got the sound of the vampire going. So, folks, guess what we're going to talk about tonight?
Oh, no. What are we going to talk about tonight?
Casper the Friendly Ghost?
No, I don't think it's Casper the Friendly Ghost.
It is indeed. I'm Kelsey, the vampire. And there is my next victim. My next victim.
Oh,
Look, he will go to sleep. He will go to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to sleep and have pleasant
He will
dreams.
go to sleep. It'll be his dreams of eternal life. Or maybe more appropriately, eternal death.
Oh.
Yes. So we're going to talk about vampires.
Yes,
Does anybody here like vampires? Do you like vampires?
Yeah, I like especially the old vampire movies.
Oh, I knew you liked me.
I said movies.
No. So, folks, here we are another Tuesday night. I am Kelsey, and this big-headed guy over there,
Big head.
Kevin the King, the Haunted Dog Guys, myhaunteddogs.com.
Yes.
And he's got about 3.5 books that he's published.
3.5, 13.
Yeah, he's been working on the 14th all year. Hadn't got anywhere with it. But I think we're going to start out this night, if he wants to, with another spirit box session.
Yeah, I can do that.
Which doll are we going into tonight?
I've got a little one here. Just trying to finish uploading my pictures for that. That ain't working. Okay. I got a little one here. I brought out little Tandy. A little tiny one. A little cutie pie named Tandy. What in the world is that noise?
She's got horns. She's got horns.
She does not have horns.
Look at those horns on her head.
She has ribbons and pigtails.
Those ribbons need to be they're stiff ribbons.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just a hilarious person.
So give a story. Let's do a little spirit box thing here.
Okay.
Before we get into the vampire, talk about our folks.
Okay. I was trying to upload. You know what? I was trying to upload a Chupacabra picture and every blame one of these.
Ever blame.
There we go. Every blame one comes back that you go, oh, what's a web file only? Okay,
That's
folks. It. I guess there's some Chupacabra picture god out there that put his copyright on every single. There we go. Now I'm done. Now we can get into a little Tandy.
You've got
This
that
little
right.
girl.
You've got that right. You are done.
Don't be scared. That silly, well, she can't see you. She's looking at the camera. That silly old man on there pointing his finger.
You only
He
wish.
needs the Dracula ring on that finger.
Come to me.
The Dracula crest.
Come to me.
Getting out my spirit box here.
Come to me.
Hey, you know, this little girl is pretty sad. You know where? I bet you won't guess where she came from.
She came from the grave.
Well, no, not the doll.
Her mama is in the grave.
This doll came from. Well, it came from a doll mama Cherie.
Doll mama.
Cherie Shun from Fayetteville, Georgia. And she even wrote the little girl's name on the bottom of the shoe there. Her name is Tandy.
Like Tandy Leather Company.
Yeah, Tandy, Tandy.
Yeah, Tandy Leather.
And she didn't really have, the only thing she knew about the little spirit girl, Tandy, who's supposed to be a little bitty 5-6-year-old. Tandy loves rain. So we all, and I, you know, Sherry always kept the little doll near a window, and I do the same thing. She's right next to a window because she loves the rain. She loves to look out the window. And supposedly, and I don't know where this story came from, but supposedly you can see, if you look out the window and watch carefully when it's raining, you can see her little bitty outline in the rain kind of dancing around. I've not seen that. But
you need to do something. You need to do something about the hair ribbons.
What's wrong with her ribbons?
Oh gosh, they look like horns.
They do not. They're ribbons.
Stuck out there.
Ribbon. They're not horns. Dad darn you. Here, look. Does that make you feel bad? Oh,
yeah.
Hell, now him won't fuss so much. So I'm gonna go ahead. Yes. What's that? You better. It's not good to not eat. What the hell?
Well, she said, sorry, was finishing up dinner.
Oh.
I said, eat now, I'll eat later.
Oh. You're vampire talk.
At least you'll get a bite.
I've created a monster.
You are a monster.
So other than a little girl who loves the rain and looking out windows, I don't have any other information on this baby.
Oh, gosh.
So maybe
get some information tonight.
We'll get some, and I'm going to use the necrophonic again tonight to cut down on all that white noise static. I just can't do that all the time.
Us vampires love necromantics.
I wonder if these things affect pacemakers. If I ever have to get a pacemaker when I'm old, I can't use a spirit box anymore. Cut it off.
What are you predicting? Are you predicting your need for a pacemaker?
No, I hope not. I ride my exercise bike all the time and
after
do
you
eat.
Is that
do
before,
the weight exercise.
Is that before or after you eat a pizza?
I don't eat pizza. Very rarely do I eat pizza because I'm living here with an elderly father that's he loves that stuff, but he's now what do they call it? Lactose intolerant, so he can't have cheese. Oh, look at him over there putting his cape up over his mouth. Now, are we ready to start a necrophonic spirit box session?
Kevin.
What?
Kevin.
What?
Come to me.
No, I'm not going to come to you. You're not Bela Lugosi.
I'm not. never claimed to be.
You need those hypnotic eyes. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start. And little Tandy, I hope you're here with us. I'll hold you up here. All right, here we go. Hope y'all can hear that. Hey, Tandy. It's Kevin. I think, well, you know, we've never done a spirit box together, Tandy. if you come close to this flat box in my hand here that I'm holding next to your doll, I can hear you speak. And I'm already hearing a little girl's voice there. Is this Tandy? Sounds like one of your kind of spirits. Tandy, is this your doll?
My ancestors will be joining us tonight.
Yeah. I heard something say doll. Tandy, is this your doll?
Excuse me.
Good grief. All that sniffing and growling over there.
I got my second vaccine yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And the only side effect, it made me a little bit tired, but also gave me sinus problems.
Oh. So if y'all just tuned in, we're using the Necrophonic Spirit Box app. I'm trying to see if little Tandy is here. Tandy, I hear you like the rain. Is that true? Yeah.
I said, yeah.
What do you like about the rain?
It's wet.
Is it because it's wet? Yeah.
Oh.
Is it the sound of the rain?
Cool.
Now, I've noticed the cat has started laying on your table a little more often, and she's never done that before. Did you call her up on the table?
We're calling you all. Come, Tammy. Come to Papa.
It's Tandy, not Tammy.
Come to Daddy, Tandy. Not him.
No, don't listen. Well, she can't hear you anyway.
He's evil.
Got this silly man talking on my headset.
Are you hearing voices again?
Yes, that strange one that talks every Tuesday night from 7 to 9. Uh-oh.
What?
That sounded like a laugh. Was that you, Tandy?
Mm-hmm.
You laughing at my joke?
Laughing at you, not your joke.
You getting tired of that silly man too?
No, that's that vampire talk.
What else makes you laugh, Tandy? I heard a whisper say, "Here." Who is here?
Who is here?
I hear a little girl. Are any of the other kids with you?
No. She said no.
So it's just me and you, huh?
You and I.
Oh my gosh.
Speak good English.
Kelsey Grammer over there.
Yes. We're doing a remake of the Vampire Chronicles.
Well, Kelsey, now you got me saying your name. Well, Tandy, did you enjoy that hard, heavy rain we had earlier this week?
No.
No, that was scary heavy, wasn't it? Do you like the lightning and the thunder?
Yes. Yes, I do. Fossil.
Yeah, they're probably calling you a fossil.
You're a fossil. You're a fossil.
That sounded like Dad. Who was that? Was that Tandy calling me Dad?
Amazing.
So what else do you like besides the rain? Do you go outside and dance in the rain? Yeah. Do you twirl and spin?
I want to see her twirl and spin now.
We got a big yard here. Not like the last house we lived at, so I bet you really have fun. Yeah, I heard, yeah. You have fun running and dancing? What'd you think of that big old white horse that used to be out there? Hey, Tandy, what's your last name?
Radio Shack.
What's your last name, Tandy?
Shack.
Yeah. Be nice to hear an answer without over here on my headset. Poor little Tandy trying to talk, and that silly old man talking over him.
I know. Quit talking.
Talking about you.
I'm not saying anything. You're hearing things. You're hearing things.
Do you see him on the screen there next to me with his little wig on and his vampire?
She said, what a handsome fellow.
She said, "Oh."
Well,
A lot of people love your doll, Tandy. It's so cute. And it always smells sweet. Is that you that makes it smell sweet?
Kevin.
Oh, shut up. Mr. Dirty Mind over there.
No, I was going to say you were smelling your own.
It's been forever since I
Did you
picked
shower?
this doll up, and it's
Been
still.
forever since
Would you shut
showered?
up? Sorry, anybody who's talking. I've got this distraction in my headset here.
He's hearing voices in his head again.
Are you still here, Tandy?
I never was there. Welcome.
Say he's not taking this seriously.
I am very seriously.
Okay.
I need a bite. I need some blood. I need energy.
So do you like where I have your doll next to the window in there? How many spirits are with you?
One big one.
We're going to be talking about vampires tonight. Do vampires scare you?
Hold her neck up to the camera.
No.
Little closer to the camera.
What's that now? Are you fine, Tandy? You doing good? Are you a happy girl?
Tired.
Yeah, I heard something like that. Why are you so tired?
You're wearing me out.
Is there anything you need for me to get you, like a toy or something?
Something to drink. What? I heard that. A whisper.
Where did you used to live, Tandy? Did this doll actually belong to you? Not sure how old this doll is, but I would guess 60s or maybe 70s or 80s. Yeah. Did you used to like to watch cartoons?
Do you still watch cartoons, Kevin? No. What's your favorite cartoon, Kevin?
I'm about to ask her that. What was your favorite cartoon, Tandy?
Ooh, that sounds scary.
Did you have a favorite show to watch? Did you have a television? Starting to get quiet. Are you still there, Tandy? Is there anything you'd like to say before we get finished?
Yes. Show the vampire my neck.
What would you like to say to us?
What?
Oh, a bunch of voices that time.
I know. I know.
How many spirits are with you now? Or with me?
Mm. Work.
Wow. We're going to have to move on with our topic here. Anything you want to say before we turn this off? Go ahead and say it. All right, then. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I count down from 5.
Where are you going?
And any spirits that don't belong here, be sure to go back to where you belong because I'm closing this door.
Okay, I'm leaving.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hasta la
There we
vista. There were some interesting things said in there. I couldn't make it all out, but I think if you go back and listen to that, you're going to be kind of blown away with that session. The neck. Just tilt your head a little bit. Just right here. The neck. Please. Please, I need to see the neck.
No.
Kevin, I need to see. It's very important. The neck.
Oh, her arms go up, or both her arms go up and down. Not sure what that does, but
Huh. I know what it does.
All righty.
Her arm is welcoming me.
No.
Yes.
She doesn't want to welcome you. You crazy.
All right, I'm Dr. Kelsey, the vampire for the night, and that is Kevin Kane. He's still
Yes.
Kevin Kane. Nothing but Kevin
Yes,
Kane.
I am.
He's Kevin Kane. And if you haven't heard of Kevin Kane, you must be living on a different planet. Or even on a different planet, you should have heard of Kevin Kane. He is not just internationally well known, he is indeed universal. The Universal
Indeed.
Haunted Dollhouse.
Indeed.
The Haunted Dollhouse person is here. Hello, Haunted Dollhouse.
Yes.
Haunted Dolls and Haunted Dollhouse. We got all kind of people here joining us. Thank you all for joining us this evening. And I know it's hard to figure out what we're going to talk about tonight, but we are going to try to talk a little bit about vampires. And I think we already know a little bit about vampires. Do you know a little bit about vampires?
Well, I do. Do you know about
I
vampires?
know a whole lot about vampires. Look at me.
Look at you.
Come on. Come.
Hey, he knows
Do
just where to go in Party City, so he knows all about.
No, this didn't come from Party City. This is too nice for Party City.
Somewhere on Amazon.
Only a vampire can create another vampire. So somewhere in history, vampires began with a single vampire that created others. Much like the chicken and egg argument, we had little insight into how the first vampire came about until recently. The answer lies in the scriptures of Delhi, specifically in the collection of writings known as the Vampire's Bible. The first vampire started out as not a vampire at all, but as a human man named Ambrosio. He was an Italian-born adventurer who fate brought to Delphi in Greece. We can read the full story, but I'm not going to share it. Not the full story. Kevin keeps posting something.
I'm sharing this all over Facebook.
It's about time.
Why?
Specifically, it began with the sun god Apollo, who in a fit of rage cursed Ambrosio so that his skin would burn should it ever touch sunlight again. Ambrosio's bad luck followed when he ended up gambling away his soul to Hades, the god of the underworld. The next curse came via Apollo's sister, Artemis, the goddess of the moon and hunting, who made it so that Ambrosio's skin would burn if he touched silver. Kind of reminds you of the werewolf a little bit, right?
Yep.
The blessings came soon after when Artemis, taking pity on the poor young man, gave him the gift of immortality. Thank you, Artemis. He would carry his curses, his skin burning by sunlight or silver, but he would live forever in his current form. See? Even though I've been around forever, don't I still look good? Not only that, but Artemis also gave him the speed and strength to become a hunter whose skills were second only to her own. Blood sucking, which by the way is called hematophagy, in case you're curious, is also included in this blessing. In the vampire original story, Ambrosio hunts swans and uses their blood as ink to write love poems to his lady Selene. While this may be considered a little creepy by our standards, it wasn't all that unusual in ancient Greece to make do with what you hunted. Ambrosio later moved back to Italy, now as a full-fledged vampire. Legend traces him to the city of Florence, where he creates the first vampire clan. We don't know a whole lot about this clan other than that they were most likely willing volunteers, like Kevin soon will be.
No, I will be.
Humans who wanted power and immortality. Don't you want that? I can give it to you, Kevin. And were willing to trade their souls for it. Come, Kevin, come.
No.
It was believed that the curse would continue for any vampire where their souls would remain in the underworld, in Hades or hell, where they could return to claim them, but then could never leave. So if you want to get your soul back, you got to go to Hades or hell, but then you can never leave. For what we know of the history of vampires, the clan grew in size and strength until infighting created something of a civil war within the clan, and many vampires left to form their own clans. Wouldn't you know it? What happened to Ambrosio and those who stayed with him is largely unknown, though many believe that he still resides somewhere in Florence. I wonder if that's Florence, Alabama.
Oh,
Dracula, facts, fiction, and folklore. The most famous vampire is, of course, Bram Stoker's Dracula, though those looking for a historical real Dracula often cite Romanian Prince Vlad Tepes from 1431 to 1476, after whom Stoker is said to have modeled some aspects of his Dracula character. The characterization of Tepes as a vampire, however, is a distinctly Western one. In Romania, he is viewed not as a blood-drinking sadist, but as a national hero who defended his empire from the Ottoman Turks. The vampires most people are familiar with, such as Dracula, are revenants, human corpses that are said to return from the grave to harm the living. Come, Kevin, come.
no.
These vampires have Slavic origins, only a few hundred years old, but other older versions of the vampire were not thought to be human at all, but instead supernatural, like Kevin, possibly demonic, entities that did not take human form. Did you hear that? Matthew Beersford, author of From Demons to Dracula, the Creation of the Modern Vampire Myth, notes, there are clear foundations for the vampire in the ancient world, and it is impossible to prove when the myth first arose. There are suggestions that the vampire was born out of sorcery in ancient Egypt, a demon summoned into this world from some other. There are many variations of vampires from around the world. There are Asian vampires, such as the Chinese Jiangxi, evil spirits that attack people and drain their life energy. Come, Kevin, I need your energy. The blood-drinking, wrathful deities that appear in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and, of course, many others. The best way to deal with vampires, of course, is to prevent them from coming back in the first place. Too late. I'm here. A few centuries ago in Europe, this was often accomplished by staking suspected vampires in their graves. The idea was to physically pin the vampire to the earth, and the chest was chosen because it's the trunk of the body. This tradition was later reflected in popular fiction depicting wooden stakes as dispatching vampires. There was no particular significance to using wood, according to folklore. Vampires, like jinnies and many other magical creatures, fear iron. So an iron bar would be even more effective than a wooden stake. Other traditional methods of killing vampires include decapitation and stuffing the severed head's mouth with garlic or even a brick. In fact, suspected vampire graves have been found with just such signs. According to a 2012 Live Science article, the body of the woman was found in a mass grave on the Venetian island of Nuevo Lazaretto. Suspecting that she might be a vampire, common folk belief at the time, grave diggers shoved a rock in her skull to prevent her from chewing through her shroud and infecting others with the plague, said anthropologist Matteo Barini of the University of Florence. Florence keeps coming up here quite a bit. Other researchers later challenged this interpretation and suggested the brick may not have been placed in the mouth after all, but instead was one of many bricks surrounding the body that merely fell there after burial. Whether that burial reflected an accused vampire or not, other graves are much clearer. In 2013, archaeologists in Bulgaria found 2 skeletons with iron rods through their chest. The pair are believed to have been accused vampires, according to an article in Archaeology magazine. Some traditions hold that vampires cannot enter a home unless formally invited in. Kevin, can I come and visit you?
Well, you've
This-
already been here.
I know, but now my new persona must come. This may have been an early form of the modern stranger danger warnings to children, a scary reminder against inviting unknown people into the house. If your local villagers neglected to unearth and stake a suspected vampire and he or she has returned from the grave, there are steps that you can take to protect yourself. Kevin, can I come in?
What?
The exact method varies around the world, but in some traditions, the best way to stop a vampire is to carry a small bag of salt with you. Do you have your bag of salt with you?
I've got some salt, yeah.
Do you have a bag of salt?
I don't have a bag. I got a big
Oh, good. I will see.
carton of salt.
I will see you
It
tonight.
don't have to be in a bag.
And if I come knocking on your door, I know that you'll let me in.
You do.
You need only to spill the salt on the ground behind you, at which point the vampire is obligated to stop and count each and every grain before continuing the pursuit.
I read that earlier.
If you don't have salt handy, some say any small granules will do, including birdseed or sand or
Or
maybe even
nails.
What about
I read-
cocaine?
I read nails. If you throw those out there, they have to count them.
So, salt was often placed above and around doorways for the same reason. You've also heard that story when it came to exorcisms and house cleansings and so forth, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Ah, so what do you have in store for us, my dear?
Oh, what should I tell you? You kind of covered some history there.
Well, I'm sorry.
I got.
I'm
No.
sorry.
I got. There's other stuff.
I'm just so terribly sorry.
There's other stuff here. I got stuff here. How about, let's see. There's another of my favorite stories I'll tell. This one, not a male vampire,
Oh,
but sort of a female vampire,
oh yes.
or so she was believed to be.
Ah, yes.
And this would be one Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
Oh, no, not in Elizabeth.
Ah,
Not in it. Did you hear that? Is Catherine there? What? What? Okay, I'm back here, Catherine.
Some say that Some say that Countess Elizabeth Bathory, considered by many to be the world's first female serial killer, was the true inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula. After all, legend has it that she bathed in the blood of at least 650 servant girls she had tortured and killed. She was said to be so evil that villagers kept their daughters in hiding for fear that Elizabeth would take them.
I will take you.
Her gruesome activities even earned her such names as the Infamous Lady and the Blood Countess.
And Kevin K.
This is her story.
Is she sticking to it?
Elizabeth was born in 1560 to one of the most powerful Protestant families in Hungary at the time.
See, those Protestants. You got to stay away from those Protestants.
She was the daughter of Baron George Bathory and Baroness Anna Bathory, who were both Bathorys by birth, possibly stemming from inbreeding within her family. It is said that from an early age, Elizabeth suffered from seizures, loss of control, and fits of rage.
So was she from Mississippi or Alabama?
She was from Hungary.
Hungary.
As a child, she witnessed the brutal punishments handed out by her family's officers on their estates. One anecdote describes a gypsy accused of theft who was sewn up in the belly of a dying horse and left to die.
To die or not to die is the question.
Her family tree certainly included some disturbed kin as well. One of her uncles taught her Satanism,
Ooh.
and she learned about sadomasochism from her aunt, or sadomasochism.
I know.
From
That
her
sounds like my friend Kevin.
Elizabeth was married by the time she was 15 years old to Count Ferenc Nadasti,
Zasmadasti.
which I probably butchered that name.
You probably did.
A soldier who would go on to lead the armies of Hungary against Ottoman forces
Yes.
threatening Central Europe.
Yes.
After her marriage, the Countess became the mistress of Nadasti's estate, where the couple earned a reputation as harsh masters. Building upon her cruelty, it is believed that Ferenc showed her some of his own ways of punishing his servants. After 10 years, Elizabeth gave birth to 3 daughters and a son. Although the Count participated in his wife's torture activities, it was not until the death of her husband in the early 1600s that Elizabeth's true evil came to fruition. She eventually moved to one of her castles at Katice in northwest Hungary, which is now Slovakia, and began surrounding herself with a cohort of servants to help her with her torture practices. Legend has it that one day an attendant girl was brushing Elizabeth's hair when she accidentally pulled too hard and it tugged on a snag in her hair.
Oh.
The Countess erupted in anger, jumping up and striking the girl with the back of her hand. The strike was so hard that it made the girl bleed, and some of that blood was left on Elizabeth's hand. Later that night, Elizabeth noticed that the skin on her hand, where the blood had been, looked more youthful than she had seen it in many years. This gave her the idea that if such a small amount of blood could make her hand look so young, then much more, could restore youthfulness to her entire body.
Absolutely.
It's said that this is when the madness began and Elizabeth started to bathe in the blood of virgin girls.
I remember that. Did they ever come figure out how many girls she did this to?
Well, it said earlier here is about at least 650 servant girls.
Oh.
So, let's see. Young women began to disappear from villages near and far, as well as children. Unhappy girls were lured to the castle with the prospect that they would find work there, but were never seen again. When they arrived, they were locked up in a cellar as they awaited torture. Elizabeth carried out much of the torture herself, often beating the girls to death.
Beat it.
Sometimes she would sew a girl's mouth shut, force her to eat her own flesh, or burn her genitals.
That sounds fun.
When she was too sick to get out of bed to beat them, Elizabeth would order her servants to bring up a girl to her quarters, where she would bite their faces and shoulders. In other instances, she would stick needles underneath the girl's fingertips before cutting off the fingers of those who tried to take them out. Soon, Elizabeth began to run out of young women because she had either already taken them or the villagers had started to hide their daughters out of fear that she would take them. This is when the Countess began to resort to noble girls, a decision that would ultimately lead to her demise. After the murder of one noble girl in 1609, which Elizabeth tried to stage as a suicide, the authorities finally decided to act. During a night raid, officials searched the castle and discovered the dead bodies of young girls everywhere they looked. Some were missing arms and eyes. One body was in the fireplace, not yet fully burned. Elizabeth was taken to trial, and many testified against her, including her servants as well as survivors. One of the servants said that the girls were tied up and beaten to death until their whole body was black as charcoal and their skin battered and torn. One girl suffered from 200 blows before dying. Another servant admitted that she had taken red-hot fire pokers and shoved them into the mouth of one girl. She said she placed her fingers in the mouth of another and pulled until the sides split open. Finally, after hearing countless testimonies of the appalling activities that went on behind the castle's walls, Elizabeth and her servants were convicted on 80 counts of murder, although evidence showed that as many as 650 females may have been killed in total. Her servants were sentenced to death, but Elizabeth was imprisoned for life in a room in her own castle that was boarded up, walled in, with tiny slits for food and air. Elizabeth lived for 3.5 years, walled up in her own room of her own castle, before she was found dead, lying face down on the floor. After her death, Countess Elizabeth Bathory went down in history as one of the most evil women to ever have walked the planet.
Evil.
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 The Countess Bathory. Evil.
Is that what goes on between you and your dolls?
No, that's not what goes on between me and my dog.
Well, I don't know. I'm not afraid to ask. I will ask. I wondered what strange goings on you have.
I don't have any strange goings on over here.
You are strange.
As far as I'm concerned,
I know.
there is nothing strange going on around here. Oh, he's looking down so he doesn't see.
Oh, the neck.
No, that was her face.
Yeah, but I can see the neck. You held it up sideways.
She doesn't have a neck. It's just a head attached to the shoulders like that.
Bend her over. I'll create a neck for her.
It looks like Dracula's reading his text. So should I go?
No, I'm not. I'm not reading a text. I'm not. I'm looking here to see. I've got a camera set up in your doll room.
A camera set up in my doll room. He's
Something strange going on.
He's a lying sack of vampires.
So what happened to Billy Bird? Just kind of gone AWOL. We never see him anymore.
Billy Bird. Shall I do a flute call?
Yeah. Billy Bird. Where's Billy Bird?
Where is Billy Bird?
Oh, Billy. So that was that was their first story, and that's the one I'm familiar with that story. I don't know if anybody else is, but that is a true story. That was not a made-up story, and she did literally because she just, if I just bathe in that blood, I'll have eternal youth. Right?
Yes.
Yes. And if I just his blood. His blood?
No. You can just cut a vein right
there. So what else you got over there? Anything? First of all, go to myhauntedDolls.com. He's got 13 and a half books for sale that he's written on all kinds of subjects. Promote your books a little bit.
Promote my books a little bit. Why not a lot of it?
Okay, love it. I'll go into my coffin and take a
Yes, go to myhauntedDolls.com. myhauntedDolls.com. Visit there and buy your books today.
Jack Halloween says more vampires and less dolls.
Oh, where?
So Jack, what about vampire dolls?
I got one of those in there.
Where? Go get it.
You want me to go get it?
Yeah, we're doing vampire.
Well, let's see. Let me finish promoting this here book. Here's Crimson the Blood painting. And then My Haunted Collection, The Dark Side.
He don't even know the name of his book.
And there were others here, but I think that crafty Kelsey deleted them.
I did
Where
not.
are my pictures?
They vanished. They went into the outer darkness.
The outer darkness.
Yes, because you became Mormon and became the outer darkness.
I did not. I just have to throw my big old face holding the book.
Oh,
up there.
Lord.
There we go.
Oh, God. Okay, you know what Tuesday night scare fright night looks like now, don't you? Okay,
Look,
so
Look,
Jack,
more dolls. Jack Halloween, more dolls.
so
More dolls.
well, Jack Halloween says less dolls, but the haunted dollhouse says more dolls.
Yay!
We got go get your doll real quick. Go, snappy.
That vampire doll.
Go.
Okay.
Make it snappy. Here you go. So we got a 50-50 shot at more dolls or more vampires. So he's going to go get the vampire doll, and we'll take it from there. That maybe would satisfy both you guys. How's that? The vampire doll will give you more vampires and more dolls. Does that work? I hope so. So this has been a kind of a fun night. We did a spirit session or at the beginning of the show that if you weren't here, you need to go back and listen to. He did Tandy, I believe was the doll's name, and there were some interesting things that you can go back and hear from that spirit box session from Tandy. It was about 20 minutes or so, and I couldn't make out everything, and I'm going to go back and listen to it. If you guys go back and listen carefully, let us know if you heard anything as he tried to communicate. Come on, Kevin. He's going to get a vampire doll. There's nothing more exciting than vampires and dolls together. Can you say? Thank you all for joining us tonight. For sure. And have you joined us on our group over on Facebook, which is, of course, Abnormal Alabama on Facebook? If you hadn't, you need to go over there and join us. And now, guess who's back?
She talks too.
So, what is her name?
I don't have a name. She's a.
Well, you gotta do
She's
it. Okay. So get your spirit box out. Let's see if we get a name. See if we get a name for this doll.
This is just a spirit Halloween store doll.
It don't matter.
Look, she's talking. Death won't be a problem.
No, it won't be, because I'm going to give Kevin eternal life.
Here's some more. Can you hear that?
Here we go.
Emelina? Okay, Emelina. That's the name.
That's not a Lena, though, is it? Is it a Lena?
Yeah,
No, it's two L's. There's no Lena there. It's two L's.
No, it's one L.
Emona.
That's L-I-N. You can't
I don't know how to pronounce it.
E-M-M-A-L-I-N-A.
No, there's no I there.
There's an I.
You need to have your
All right,
checked.
Haunted Dollhouse. Tell them there's an I in that.
There's not. Is there an I there?
I-N-A.
Yeah, there. I don't know why you're arguing with me. There is an I there.
Because you said there's not one, you big doo-doo.
You just love to argue, that's all.
Well, you're talking over Emelina or Emelina.
Emelina. Ooh.
Yes, there's an I. There it is right there, Haunted Dollhouse. Yes, there's an I. Ha ha. Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho.
The eyes have it.
So there's Emelina. She says, I want a piece of you that I can keep forever.
But I don't know, Kevin. I don't think you would miss a piece of you.
Now, let me go ahead and.
How many different phrases does she have? Just
those 3 or 4. There, now she's off. Ah, she's going to drink your blood.
I have immortal blood. That's a very wise choice on her part.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
We've got to do another puppet show.
Another puppet show.
Yeah, except my puppet's falling apart. I got to either repair it or get a new puppet.
Well, I got more vampire stories
Do
here.
you know vampire stories? Well, I need to first of all.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to do my part. You did
Oh
your
yeah,
part.
you got to.
Can I not do my part?
Yeah, I thought you did it
think
while I was going to get the dog.
You think it's all about you, don't you?
Huh?
You just think it's all about you.
Yeah,
you just think it's all about you, don't you, huh? What's this?
Oh.
It's all about you. It's all about you. I still have a doll to be posted over to you. Really? She's gonna send you a doll?
For Macy, who I had on last week.
Contact you for an address. So who does she need an address from?
From me.
Well, give her the address.
Yeah, let's see. I won't do it live. I can message
I'll do it live. He lives at 3175 North Highway 16.
I do not. Lies.
Fultondale, Alabama, 35-076917702.
Don't listen to him. You'll be posting it to who knows where.
Or you can send it to me at P.O. Box 1269.
I have a P.O. Box, but I'm about to close it. Because I'm just tired of driving way over there. But I do have an address, Haunted Dollhouse. If you go on.
Well, private message her. Private message her.
Well, I have to see if I got her on Facebook. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have her on Facebook.
Ask her. Jeez.
Is it Haunted Dollhouse? I guess Haunted Dollhouse. If you want to go to my Facebook page, or you can go to myhauntedDolls.com and message it there to me.
What's your email? Just give her your email.
Or just email me at Kevin@myhauntedDolls.com.
Yeah, that's Kevin with a K, not a C.
Yeah, Kevin@myhauntedDolls.com.
Kevin,
that's easier.
Kevin at hishauntedDolls.com.
Because I see some haunted doll houses out here on Facebook, but I wouldn't know which one.
Oh, yes.
Well, what happened to your promotion? You said you wanted to promote yourself.
I did. I played that little thing. Now look what's going. Look at the bottom of the screen.
And the Wish Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Haunted Dollhouse says okay.
Okay.
And and then there's you got a book out there right there, Dating the Dead.
DatingTheDead.com. And you go to DatingTheDead.com. It's on sale at Lulu.com. It's also on sale at Amazon.com. It's also on sale at several other places, but my DatingTheDead.com is where you can get it directly from me.
And you can get it at ohmygoshwhatthehellisthis.com.
Yeah, you can get that. And you can email Kevin at IamSatan.com.
Satan. I'm afraid to pull that website up. I bet you there is a website out there.
Kevin at MyEvilSpirit.com.
I don't know. It's Kevin at MyHauntedDolls.com. Now that will go to my Outlook box, which I get right here on my cell phone. Check it out. There you go. Karina's Dolls with Souls and Higher. It's going to be a hotel.
California? Did you say Hotel California?
No, I said hotel. No, it's Karina's Dolls with Souls and Higher Comby Hotel on Facebook. We got it right there on the screen in front of you there.
Yes.
Yes.
So there was my latest review that just came in just a few minutes ago.
Oh, for his wishdoctor.com.
Yeah, it wouldn't all take. It was too lengthy a thing, but let's see if we get the rest of it here. Yeah. Right here, we'll just go ahead and put this out here.
Okay.
Right here. Here's the rest of it.
There it is. I pulled up that group, and there we go. Karina's Dolls with Souls. I put a like on it. There we go.
So it's now just a couple of minutes before 8 o'clock. We have done our self-promoting, and now we can get back to promoting vampires.
Yeah.
So a female vampire, would that be a vampiress?
Vampirella. I don't know. Vampires. A vampiress. I don't know.
Vampire. Are you a vampire? Yes.
A vampire. I don't claim to be a vampire.
You are a vampire.
Look
Look how white he is.
how wide.
Let's suck the blood out of him.
I can turn the light down, make it less wider. There we go.
Yeah, turn the light on down some more. You look pretty good. The lower the light, the better you look.
I'm gonna say that because I think you're stupid enough to turn it all the way off, and then we ain't got to look at
Yeah. Then you'll see what Kevin really looks good. Like that.
Yeah.
So 8 o'clock. Do we have some more vampire stories?
Well, of course, I got
Of
this.
course.
You touched on one earlier, and there's a story that goes with it.
I know.
That how do we pronounce this? Chiang Shai or Chiang Shi, the undead creature of Chinese mythology.
Kevin.
Yes. What?
Right here,
What?
Kevin.
What?
Calm, Kevin.
Ah, shut up. Or how do you pronounce this? Chiang Shai. I'm gonna say Chiang Shai.
He looks serious, don't he?
Yes, he does.
But he does have your skin tone, that's for sure.
The Chiang Shai.
Chiang Shai.
Good detail. In China, vampires had long, hooked claws and red eyes. In Chinese vampire legends, they were known as Chiang Shai, which translates to corpse hopper.
Hopping corpses?
Yeah, the corpse hopper. It sounds like bar hopper. They're going from one to the other. I don't know.
You'd know all about that.
I think you would know all about that.
Yeah, hey, if y'all missed the show I think it's last week or the week before, Kevin's got a birthday coming up. He's going for the first time ever to a strip bar.
No, I'm not.
Oh, there, look at that. He looks good there.
Yeah, I do look creepy. Look at that.
You look creepy to begin with.
That's even scarier. The Chiang Shai are undead creatures of Chinese mythology with similarities to the European vampire. Instead of feeding on the blood of their victims, the risen Chiang Shai were said to suck the breath out of the living. Like many European vampires, they were said to have long hair, eyebrows, and fingernails, as well as the ability to fly. A person was thought to have two different souls, a superior and an inferior. It was the inferior soul that remained in the body after death, and if it was strong enough, it would reanimate the corpse. That soul was made strong when the person died with unfinished business, suffered a violent death, was given an improper burial, or because respects had not been paid to them. Also, like the Western vampire, the Chiang Shai are said to be vulnerable to religious verses and images, as well as garlic. Throwing rice and peas at the Chiang Shai was also said to keep them at bay. The Chiang Shai, also known as a Chinese hopping vampire or zombie, is a type of reanimated corpse in Chinese legends and folklore, also known as Jiangshi, which is Gangshi in Korean. It is typically depicted as a stiff corpse dressed in official garments from the Qing dynasty, and it moves around by hopping with its arms outstretched. It kills living creatures to absorb their life force, usually at night, while in the daytime it rests in a coffin or hides in dark places such as caves. Jiangxi legends have inspired a genre of Jiangxi films and literature in Hong Kong and East Asia. The Chiang Shai is the Chinese vampire derived from the belief in two souls. Each person had a superior rational soul and an inferior irrational soul. The former had the form of the body and upon separation could appear as its exact double. The superior soul could leave the sleeping body and wander the countryside. For a short period, it would even possess the body of another person and speak through it. If accidents befell the wandering soul, it would have negative repercussions on the body. The inferior soul was the soul that inhabited the body of a fetus during pregnancy and often lingered in the body of a deceased person, leading to the unnatural preservation of the body. When it left the body, it disintegrated. The body, when animated by a strong pi is what they're calling it now, was considered the Chiang Shai. It appeared normal and was not recognized as a vampire until some action gave it away. Sometimes the body would have a hideous appearance and a green phosphorescent glow. When in this form, the Chiang Shai would develop serrated teeth and long talons. The Chiang Shai lacked the powers of Slavic vampires. It could not rise from the grave. The transformation of vampire had to occur before burial. The Chinese vampire was nocturnal, which limited their activity during the day. It also had trouble crossing running water. But the Chiang Shai were very strong and vicious.
Yes.
There are detailed reports of attacks upon living people where their heads and limbs were ripped off by the Chiang Shai vampire. The vampire often absorbed the life's essence of the living. It's not uncommon to hear the Chiang Shai as the hopping vampire, as it commonly moved around by hopping with its arms outstretched. Over time, the vampire may master the art of flying and gain the ability to change into a wolf. In order to ward off the Chinese Chiang Shai vampire, garlic kept them away, and salt had a corrosive effect on the vampire's skin. Loud noises offended them, and thunder would occasionally kill them. You could literally sweep a vampire into its resting spot with a broom. Iron fillings, rice, and red peas could be used as barriers to the entry of the vampire, and would often be used around a vacant coffin to keep a vampire from taking rest there. These vampires could be evaded by holding one's breath, as they are blind and track living creatures by detecting their breathing. People also protected themselves from Chiang Shai by using we've already covered that, the garlic or salt. And now there's a famous story that spurned from the legend of the Chiang Shai, and here it is. The wife of a teacher named Liu wakes in the morning and finds that her husband, who had been sleeping next to her, is dead. His head is missing, and the bed is drenched in blood. She reports this to the local authorities, who then accuse her of murder and put her in jail. She remained there for months. The mystery was finally solved as the result of one of the villagers finding a neglected grave on a hillside. The coffin was laid bare next to it with the lid slightly raised. This villager summoned the rest of the community. When the coffin lid was raised, the corpse was found within, resembling the dead person when he was still alive, except that it was covered with white hair. Between its arms, it held the head of Liu. The head of Liu could not be pulled from the arms of the corpse. After they cut off the corpse's arms, fresh blood gushed from them and their stumps. But there was not a drop of blood to be found in Lu's head. It had been sucked dry by the vampire. In another tale, a man walking down a country road at night finds an open coffin in the middle of the road. He realized that it must be the coffin of a Chiang Shai. He filled the coffin with rocks and broken pottery. Then he retreated to the loft of a nearby barn to observe the coffin and see what would happen there next. About an hour after midnight, the corpse tried to climb back into the coffin. Finding the coffin filled with rocks and debris, the corpse became angry and its eyes began to blaze. In the moonlight, this Chiang Shai saw the traveler in the loft and went to the barn. The man feared that he was trapped in the loft and jumped out the window into a tree. But the Chiang Shai could not climb the ladder to the loft and went outside where it spotted the man after he climbed down the tree. The Chiang Shai pursued the man. The man finally escaped by jumping into a stream and swimming to the other shore. The Chiang Shai could not cross running water. It stood near the stream, screaming and gesticulating in anger. Then it jumped into the air 3 times, turned into a wolf, and ran off. According to one tale, in 1761 AD, the 26th year of the Keen Lung period, there was a time of drought in Peking and its vicinity. During this time, a courier was dispatched with an urgent message from one general to another in a different city. On the way, while he was in a lonely place, a storm suddenly brewed up, and the rain poured heavily upon him. The courier took shelter in the pavilion of a post house. Here, a lovely young woman joined him. She invited him to her house, so the courier followed her, tied his horse to a post outside her house, and went inside. The woman treated him first with tea. They spent the night together, enjoying each other's embraces in bed. But when the cock crowed, the woman suddenly got out of bed, put on her clothes, and left. The exhausted courier fell asleep. When he awoke again, he found himself on a tombstone in the open. There were no buildings nearby. He found his horse tied to a tree. Frightened, he quickly untied his horse, mounted it, and rode off. When he reached his destination, he was many hours late. Under interrogation, he told what happened to him on the way. The general had the tomb investigated. It turned out to be that of a young, unmarried woman who had hung herself out of shame after it was discovered that she was no longer a virgin. Her specter had enticed and seduced travelers coming through the vicinity of her tomb, and it was suspected that her specter was the cause of the drought. The general ordered the tomb opened. There inside rested the woman's corpse, still undecayed, plump and rosy in complexion, but covered with white hair. This corpse was then cremated. The drought ended the next day, and the tomb was no longer haunted. Ah, the Chiang Shai. Ah.
Sound like a vampire.
Yeah.
Interesting stories to say the least. And
I've got more where that came from.
well, you got like 45 minutes. I did the history of vampires, which you can't say there's 100% accurate history of it, because like anything else in this realm, there's a lot of urban legends and a lot of superstitions. So, we do the best. I know the average person, I think, has heard of the Vlad story.
Yes, Vlad
the Impaler, and ends up, if you listen carefully to the history, that really came about a lot later in more modern times, and that wasn't the root of the story. Now, did you say that this tied in with some kind of a cryptid of some sort?
Yeah, there's
You
a
have-
couple of cryptids.
So you haven't covered that
And,
yet, have you?
Not yet. Let's see.
Got on your glasses?
Yeah, I was trying to. Well, oh well.
So you can see.
Let's see. Okay, let me pull up.
Hey, look. Christmas
my
girl.
gosh.
Who's this? Christmas girl. You know her?
Christmas girl. No, I don't know.
So welcome,
Hello, Christmas girl.
How you doing, Christmas girl? Thank you for joining us.
All right, so we can talk.
We talked. First of all, we had a couple of dolls on the show. If you're into dolls, and one of them was Tandy, and we did Kevin did a spirit box session,
Spirit box.
and then later on he brought on a vampire doll. And Christmas girl said, "How are you and your dolls doing?"
We are doing perfectly fine. So yeah, I guess you must be a Haunted Dolls, my Haunted Dolls viewer. So that's one. There's the name. What was the name we gave her again? Let me go up here.
Emelina or something like that.
Emelina, yes.
Emelina. That's Emelina.
Emelina, the vampire doll.
The vampire girl.
The hair out the way.
So
There we go.
for you guys still hanging in there with us, when we get to the last few minutes of the show, I'm gonna draw blood.
No, he's not gonna draw blood. Now, let's get over to. There's a couple of cryptids that are tied to the vampire folklore.
Vampires.
Because they themselves are blood.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me share a piece of news real quick. This is interesting, and I'm going to forget it if I don't. Most people, and the show we're dealing with, the topic we're dealing with, we deal with what? A lot of ghost hunters, right? Paranormal researchers, ghost hunters.
Yes.
What is the big thing over in Tuscaloosa that a lot of people like to go visit and do their ghost hunting?
I would say Bryce's.
Bingo. So the news is they're about to demolish a big part of Bryce's hospital.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a while.
Yeah,
now.
the east wing of the historic Bryce Hospital building is being demolished because it has structural problems, and the University of Alabama actually bought the building. Demolition is part of a larger plan to transform what once was Alabama's largest inpatient psychiatric facility into a new performing arts facility. And I would assume that once they get that done, that the performing arts facility will probably be haunted.
Oh no.
The restored section of the Bryce Hospital building will eventually house a welcome center for the university's Performing Arts Academic Center, the Ghost, like at Magic Kingdom down at the Haunted Mansion in Orlando. The Ghost will be welcome. Come on into the Welcome Center.
Oh.
And it'll be an entirely new structure adjacent to the existing building. The new Performing Arts Academic Center will feature 4 performance venues for theater and dance. I can see, just like at the Haunted Mansion at Disney, there'll be dancing. Along with housing the Welcome Center, the main Bryce building will also include a reception venue, facility offices, and rehearsal space, as well as museums dedicated to both UA history and the history of mental health in Alabama. So just a little update there that they are moving a step closer to demolishing at least part of what has been well known in our history of Alabama for ghost hunting. And by the way, Christmas Girl says you have cute dolls.
Yes, and thank you. I saw them earlier.
So anyway, so Bryce's Hospital, if you haven't been there, you have been there, you've read about it, you've seen videos about it, that's about to change, just like Caraway Hospital over in North Birmingham is going to become a multi-purpose facility. So it's going to be going under a demolition as well. Fascinating stuff, people. Stay on top of your news if you're in the ghost hunting world, because these are popular places for those
I bet
who
that
like to.
even in their new form, they'll still have ghosts.
Well, absolutely. And you know what's interesting is they say that once you start remodeling and tearing down, you stir up the spirits.
Yes.
So, Kevin,
Yes.
would you like to come over for a bite?
I don't want to come over for a bite. I would.
Just let me see your neck.
No, go see somebody else's neck.
You have a big neck, Kevin.
Nah.
You must have a lot of blood in there, Kevin.
No, I don't have a lot of blood in there. It's all gone.
No, I don't think so. Even though you are a little pale, I think you could do.
You know,
I think you could become a little paler.
You may not like my blood. It might dope you up.
Well, I like dope.
There's 3 different medications in that there blood.
There is, but that's okay because I'm going to give you eternal life.
Yeah, I've already got eternal life.
Come to me. Come, Kevin.
Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus.
I'm not Jesus. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you anyway. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But no, I never claim. Just because he calls me Jesus, I'm not claiming to be Jesus. Kevin, don't. That's not right. You shouldn't call me Jesus.
I'm not calling you Jesus.
You did. You said come to Jesus.
I'm telling you to go to go to the cross.
Yes, the upside down cross.
Yeah, if you'll ever
Okay, so I wanted to get that little bit of news out about Bryce's Hospital. If you haven't heard that, if you're from Alabama, and if it makes any difference to you, if you are in another part of the world and you will Google Bryce, Bryce Hospital in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, there's all these neat videos. They used to actually do frontal lobotomies at that hospital. If you don't know what that is, you can check it out. Kevin needs a frontal lobotomy.
Oh, you need a frontal lobotomy, a backward lobotomy, and all kinds of lobotomies.
After I take his blood from him.
Now, can I finally?
Well, Christmas girl, we are. He's my stepson. I adopted him because his dad disowned him.
No,
his mother actually went to heaven to get away from him.
Yeah. Well, can I ever get on to our
yes
story of the cryptid vampire?
Just come closer.
Come
closer.
Let's talk about the Chupacabra. Chupacabra. All right, and there's a story right from Texas that tells about the Chupacabra. The first time Phyllis Kenyon saw the Chupacabra, it was slipping through the pastures on her South Central Texas ranch in broad daylight. It was June 2007, and Kenyon, a naturopathic doctor and hunter, had just returned to Cairo from Africa. She'd seen some odd things there, but nothing like this. A hairless canine figure with blue-gray flesh and bony limbs.
Sorry.
Soon after, she and her husband found one of their chickens with its throat torn open, apparently drained of blood.
Oh, yes.
Over the next few days, the mystery predator struck again, leaving what appeared to be exsanguinated chickens across the ranch. Kenyon set up cameras, hoping to catch it in the act. When that failed, she asked her neighbors to let her know if they saw, captured, or killed it. In mid-July, a neighboring rancher called to say that one of the creatures had been hit by a car near his property. As Kenyon stood puzzling over the scrawny body, they got another call about another strange carcass, this one closer to Kenyon's ranch. She sped back in her car, and there it was, thin, hairless, bizarre. Canyon loaded it into her tractor and took it back to the ranch to photograph it. That brush with celebrity changed her life. We've done documentaries on National Geographic, History Channel, Discovery, Animal Planet. We've done about 13 overseas. We've done about 60 documentaries in the States, Canyon said. Everybody wants to know more about the Chupacabra. The Chupacabra is among the most popular of the mystery beasts, an integral part of Texas folklore, and a semi-regular guest star in sensational cable documentaries and credulous local news reports alike. For 10 years, legends of the blood-sucking monster have been a staple of rural life throughout the central part of the state, fueled by a succession of alleged carcasses, sightings, and tall tales. According to Ben Radford, researcher with the Center for Skeptical Inquiry and author of Tracking the Chupacabra, Texas is, quote, a chupacabra factory, unquote, one of the foremost states associated with the vampire. But the Chupacabra wasn't always a resident of the Lone Star State, and it didn't always look like a dog. In the 21 years since the first supposed sightings of the creature, it has been a spine-backed alien, a winged kangaroo, or even a goblin, a predatory monkey, or an unusually ambitious mongoose. Only one facet of the tale has remained constant. The Chupacabra is out there in dark thickets and empty deserts, and it wants your livestock and their blood.
Yes, come here. Come to me.
So that's one of the yes, what?
Come to me.
Come
here.
So that's one of the cryptids, and now there's another one I've heard of. Never heard of it before until several years ago. When watching a documentary about cryptids, and this one. Have you ever heard? And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I think it's called the Strigoi. Strigoi. Is that how it's pronounced?
Strawberry. I don't know.
Like
I don't know. I honestly don't. Where you got a picture of it?
Yeah, right there. There's an artist conception there of the Strigoi.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
and here's another one with clothing on.
Clothing.
The Strigoi. Let's see, Strigoi.
Clothing.
In Roman mythology, are troubled spirits that are said to have risen from the grave.
From the dead.
They are attributed with the abilities to transform into an animal, become invisible, and gain vitality from the blood of their victim.
Yes.
Strigoi is a Romanian word that originated from a root related to the Latin term strix or stringa, with the addition of the augmentative suffix oi, I guess it's pronounced Strigoi.
Strigoi.
In the late Roman period, well, let's see, before I get there, there's also some Italian background. The oi suffix notably converts feminine terms to the masculine gender, as well as often investing it with a complex mixture of augmentation and pejoration. The root has been related particularly to owls. So, that's getting into boring stuff. So let's get back here. The Strigoi, in the late Roman period, the word became associated with witches, or a type of ill-omened nocturnal flying creature.
Oh, yes.
Referred to nighttime entities that craved human flesh and blood, particularly infants, little babies. It is related to the Romanian verb astriga, which means to scream. Ah! One of the earliest mentions of a historical Strigoi was Jor Grando Alivolek from the region of Istria. The villager is believed to have been the first real person described as a vampire because he was referred to as a Strigoi in contemporary local records.
Gotta watch him catch a breeze.
Grandot is supposed to have terrorized his former village 16 years after his death,
Yes.
which his death was 1656.
Yes.
Eventually, he was decapitated by the local priest and villagers. The Carniolan scientist Johann Wichard von Balthasar wrote about Grandot's life and afterlife in his extensive work, The Glory of the Duchy of Kanoria. I butchered all this stuff.
So he used a douche? What?
In an 1865 article on Transylvanian folklore by Wilhelm Schmidt describes the Strigoi as nocturnal creatures that preyed on infants. He reports a tradition in which upon the birth of a child, one tosses a stone behind oneself and exclaims, This is into the mouth of the Strigoi. You must do that to keep your infant safe. In 1909, Franz Hartmann mentioned in his book An Authenticated Vampire Story that peasant children from a village in the Carpathian Mountains started to die mysteriously. The villagers began to suspect a recently deceased count was a vampire dwelling in his old fortress. Therefore, the frightened villagers burned the castle to stop the deaths. And when the castle was burned, the mysterious deaths did indeed stop. Oh. And that leads to a story about a more modern Strigoi story.
How do you spell that?
Strigoi.
S-T. What?
Strigoi. Before
vampire, yeah. Striggery.
Striggery. Well, there's not an R at the end.
Oh, Strigoi. I don't know why you put an R
Strigoi.
there.
S-T-R. I didn't. You did.
Why did you put an R there? Why did you do that?
Let me finish my story.
Always trying to mislead.
You're always interrupting my stories. So, before Christmas 2003, in the village of Maratinu de Sus, a 76-year-old Romanian man named Petre Toma died. In February 2004, a niece of the deceased revealed that she had been visited by her late uncle. A brother-in-law became the leader of a vampire hunting group made of several family members. After drinking some alcohol, they dug up the coffin of Petre Toma, made an incision in his chest, and tore the heart out.
Mm-hmm.
After removal of the heart, the body was burned and the ashes mixed in water and drunk by the family, as is customary. However, the Romanian government, anxious to maintain a good image in preparation for the country's accession to the European Union, had banned this practice, and 6 family members were arrested by the police of Craiova from Dolj County for, quote, disturbing the peace of the dead, unquote, and were imprisoned and sentenced to pay damages to the family of the deceased. The 6 who exhumed the body were charged and sentenced to 6 months' time served. Since then, in the nearby village of Asmardo de Sus, people drive a fire-hardened stake through the heart or belly of the dead as a preventative to make sure that no other Strigois come along. So that's interesting. So we have vampires in the world of cryptids too. Now, should I keep? Oh, he's listening intently. Should I keep?
No.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Strigoi. Strigoi. Yeah, I was checking.
Strigoi. Oh, that
Strigoi.
sounds more familiar. Yeah.
Strigoi. Okay, so I want to make sure we got that pronunciation right. That's what I was listening to.
Strigoi. Okay.
Strigoi.
Ah.
So we're down now. It's 8:32. I am Dr. Kelsey, and that is Mr. Kevin, soon to be Vampire King.
No, I won't be soon to be Vampire King.
As you see, my mouth is already watering for his blood. Yes.
You're just a drooling old man. That's all.
So how many people are looking forward to Halloween?
I am.
Is there any Halloween fans here?
I am.
Hello, Halloween fans? Anybody a Halloween fan?
Me.
So are you going to dress up for Halloween?
Well, I mean, usually I do, but I'm working from home. We're out here in the country with no trick or treaters. So what does
It
it
don't matter. I'm
It don't matter.
I'm here.
I'm
No, I'm doing this
no.
just for the show.
I can just dress up and just sit there in my room.
Absolutely. We can have a virtual Halloween.
I may do. Well, I can sit here while I'm working and be dressed up. Who knows?
There you go. It's like,
Hey.
what would you be?
Oh gosh, that's hard. I would see. I love dressing up as Michael Myers.
You're too big. You're too big.
No, I'm not. Shut up here. And I like dressing up as Jason, and as the what's that? I got that burlap mask. The burlap mask of the scarecrow. I've got oh, here we go. There's a go. I'm looking forward to the Halloween candy. Me too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. So I found the perfect thing for you to go as.
Oh my God! You're gonna put some stupid fat thing up there.
I would not. In fact, this is pretty trim. This is pretty trim and slim here. Don't get upset. Jeez.
Hurry up, because I wanted to tell this one about
we got time. We got time. Just
New Orleans vampires.
Yeah, I got your New Orleans.
New Orleans vampires.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Hold on, I gotta get to the right place here. So let's take a vote here. This would be, I think, personality-wise, would fit you to a T. Now, this personality-wise.
Up yours with some twirling dough.
And not that fast either.
I don't have the voice for the giggle. Or whatever it is he does. We'll let Kelsey go as this right here.
What's that one? What am I going as?
Right there, that picture right there in front of you.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't it? What would be the reason to not?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that didn't work. So here is what we actually do for Kevin.
Oh, Lord.
Since I tried to be nice and he wouldn't accept my nicety.
Look, you called me a doughboy.
I did not.
Nicety.
So here's what we'll do. Do you like the movie Ghostbusters?
Yes, I like the movie Ghostbusters.
Boom.
I see that Slimer picture you're going to throw up there.
And the interesting thing about that, Kevin, is that you won't even need much makeup for that.
You're so clever.
Clever.
Neither would you. You could fit that perfectly. Should I tell about the Nolans?
Okay, here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look. No, look.
Oh, the Pillsbury Doughboy has a cute smelly laugh. I don't have the voice to do it.
You don't. You don't need to. You just need to roll your belly. And I'll walk up and just poke your belly. Instead of biting, I'll just say, "Hey, Kevin," and you can let me hear you giggle.
I can't giggle. I don't have a good giggle.
Or just do your flute then. Do you have any more stories there? Or you run out of stories?
Yes, I haven't run out of stories. I still got to tell the New Orleans vampire.
New Orleans.
I love the title of this article. It's called "We're All Around You: The Real Vampires of New Orleans."
They are around you.
Let's throw a creepy picture up there. I'll just throw this one up there.
Yeah.
Vampires have been a topic in folklore for centuries. For most of their history, vampires were portrayed as monsters In 1897, Bram Stoker created the last century's archetype vampire, Dracula, who is portrayed as a predatory and entirely inhuman creature.
Really?
In her Sci-Fi Wire article, Elizabeth Rain characterizes early literary and cinematic vampires. Quote, the repulsive visuals of early vampires on film were reflections of the unmitigated evil they were perceived to be.
I don't think it's repulsive.
Vampires would continue to be regarded as inhuman until Anne Rice's novel, Interview with the Vampire, was adapted to film in 1994. Rice's novel presents attractive and sympathetic vampires with a strong conscience. The author was able to infuse a monster with humanity, with losing the monster, says Rain. We are constantly reminded that they still can prey on humans and are susceptible to losing control, end quote. Vampires are powerful and can hurt you, but they choose not to. Vampires are essentially misunderstood, exaggerated, quote, bad boys, unquote, and have become a major sex symbol of the past 20 years. The popularity of films and television series like Twilight, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and The Vampire Diaries highlight society's obsession with a modern, sexy vampire. The Twilight franchise grossed over $3 billion between 5 films. Interview with the Vampire grossed over $200 million when it was released in 1994. Vampires are a societal obsession. Although these films are most popular with young females, their success permeates all demographics. Given the popularity of vampire fiction, is it surprising that there is a global community of people who refer to themselves as real vampires? Real vampires are not immortal. They do not have supernatural powers or predatory nature.
It's a lie.
Many real vampires try to distance themselves from popular vampire fiction. Balthazar, or as he's known, Czar Ashantason, founding member of the New Orleans Vampire Association, believes that vampire films and television shows can damage the community because people come in with expectations of amazing powers and then find out that we're just normal people trying to get by. In films, vampires are often portrayed by young, attractive actors like Brad Pitt and Robert Pattinson. In New Orleans, vampires are once again monsters whose stories entice tourists. Some of the most popular tours in New Orleans are haunted tours that promise to divulge the macabre secrets of New Orleans' past and present. Many of the stops on these so-called haunted tours concern sites of proposed vampire activity. Kim Gianmarco, respected vampire elder and former haunted tour guide, tells about the Carter brothers, 2 of New Orleans' most notorious vampires. On the corner of St. Anne and Royal Street, there is a deep red building with wraparound balconies. In the 1930s, it was home to John and Wayne Carter, 2 seemingly normal brothers. One day, a young girl escaped their apartment, seemingly running for help, with blood soaking her wrists. When the police investigated the apartment, they found 4 people, not dead, but 4 people tied to chairs with their wrists slit, as well as dozens of actual dead bodies already drained of their blood. Kim explains that when the brothers returned to the apartment, it took all 8 police officers to hold down and detain the brothers, who are of average height and build. The brothers were executed for their crimes and buried in a vaulted tomb. Years later, the vault was opened to receive the body of another family member. The workers handling the body were astonished to find no trace of the brothers in the vault. The brothers had vanished. The story of the Carter brothers is one of many New Orleans vampire legends. These stories have likely been embellished, but Kim believes there is truth behind each of them. Listening to those stories, Kim says, and standing in the spots they happened at, you can just feel the energy and feel that it really happened. New Orleans is known for not only vampire folklore, but for a prominent community of real modern vampires as well. New Orleans vampires today bear little resemblance to figures like the Carter brothers, but as Czar says, it is always good to know one's history. Modern vampire folklore offers two contrasting depictions of vampires: young, attractive, and superhuman, or elusive, grotesque, and evil. The real vampires that I, meaning the author of this article, spoke with are neither. Czar, Kim, and Morgan are all middle-aged, friendly, and completely normal in appearance. Real vampires blend in with society and differ greatly from their Hollywood counterparts. As Morgan says, when you think vampire, you don't think of a guy sitting down and playing Assassin's Creed. Czar and Kim are both regarded as experienced leaders within their community. Czar and Kim began their awakenings at age 11 and 14, respectively. Czar explains that the term awakening is used to describe the period of time when a vampire recognizes that there is something different about them, something other, if you will. Morgan, a successful business owner and PhD, also identifies as a vampire. Like Czar and Kim, he began his awakening at a young age. Morgan pursued metaphysical science to understand what he was experiencing. Morgan says, "I did not realize that what I was doing was in line with vampirism until about 10 years ago." Czar is a sanguine vampire, meaning that he regularly drinks blood from willing donors. Not all vampires drink blood. Kim, for example, is a tantric vampire and thus feeds off the sexual energy of a partner. Kim admits that she has a desire to drink blood, but she suppresses it. Morgan identifies as a pranic vampire. Like Kim, he derives energy from physical touch, but he prefers platonic affection. "I'm a hugger," Morgan explains. "I hug everybody. I am hopeful, a hopeful romantic. I derive my energy from actually hugging and touching people." All three have tried drinking blood, but only Czar claims to need it. Modern vampires differ greatly in their feed styles, but each method is just a way of obtaining energy. Czar defines vampirism as a physiological condition wherein the afflicted person's body either does not make enough or any at all of the daily essential energies necessary in order to perform daily tasks. When Czar does not drink blood on a regular schedule, and Kim and Morgan go a few days without physical touch, they all feel completely drained. Morgan explains the importance of consent and safety when practicing each feed style. "All the vampires I know, even the sanguines, have dedicated people that they drink from. They are very cautious. They get tested. It's very clinical, actually." For pranics that derive energy from sex, they and their partners are both regularly tested, and consent is always emphasized. Unlike feeding, some vampiric qualities are more universal. Kim works customer service in a call center because it allows her to work evenings. Czar works a day job at Voodoo Authentica, but claims his circadian rhythm is definitely nocturnal. Kim and Czar will not sparkle or burst into flames if they step into sunlight, but they do feel sensitive to the sun, similar to their sensitivity to energy. As Czar says, after all, what is the sun but a big ball of floating energy in the sky? Morgan is relatively private about his vampire identity and has chosen a more traditional career. I keep things pretty separate, Morgan says, referring to his professional life and vampire identity. I am self-employed. I own a finance firm. I have for many years. I've even served in the military for a little bit. Morgan is a witch and Czar is a voodoo priest. Although pagan beliefs are more common in the vampire community, vampires practice a variety of religions. I know Wiccans, I know a Buddhist vampire, says Czar. We're all over the board. I even know Christian vampires. For Morgan, being a witch is no different than practicing any other religion. Being a witch is a belief. It's like being pagan or Buddhist or anything else, Morgan says. It's just a belief, a way of life. It's like a moral compass. There are rituals and things, like in every religion. Catholics eat the cracker and drink the wine, but that's a ritual. It's just a different type of ritual. New Orleans is not the only city where vampire communities exist, but as Kim says, when people think of vampires, they immediately think of New Orleans. Perhaps it is the haunted buildings, connection with voodoo, or Anne Rice herself that unites New Orleans with vampires. New Orleans has always been one of the meccas for the vampire community, says Czar. It has always had a flair for vampires. New Orleans has 275 years of vampiric lore in and of itself. Czar and Kim both visited New Orleans many times before moving here. I knew I'd always end up here, Czar says. 29 years ago is when I began my journey in voodoo, and it brought me here. When Kim came to New Orleans, she met Czar by chance. I was trying to figure out where I was going to stay, says Kim. He invited me to stay at his house, and the rest is history. We clicked so well, and we have been best friends for the last 9 years. The city's live and let live attitude is a big reason why so many different groups find a home here. As a gay man himself, Czar recognizes similarities between the vampire community and the LGBT community. Czar admits it took time to become comfortable with both being gay and a vampire. Czar was raised in a Christian family and admits he was set apart from an early age. Czar found a second family in the vampire community. Vampires like Czar recognize that not everyone will approve of his lifestyle, but that does not concern him. I'm not out there trying to get people to accept us, says Czar. People often make that mistake. I am out there to let others know that they're not alone. The New Orleans Vampire Association is committed to serving the New Orleans community. One of Nova's, New Orleans Vampire Association, NOVA, one of NOVA's main missions is feeding the homeless. For over 10 years, NOVA members have been feeding the homeless on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. Czar started the initiative in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina. Czar lost everything in the storm. Because he was working for Target at the time and told the company what he had lost, Target sent him trash containers full of food and clothes. I had enough to feed a small army come around Thanksgiving, says Czar. So the first Thanksgiving, I cooked everything up. I went to Jackson Square and I started feeding people, and that's how it began. Nova is currently working towards another goal. Our ultimate goal is to have an LGBT safe community, a homeless shelter for LGBT and pagan youth. Not all vampires think alike, and Nova is not immune to internal arguments. Czar explains that many issues arise among community members when they focus on their differences. When we started acknowledging feed types, Czar says, when those started becoming a priority, we started to splinter. We're all vampires. We should be working together on common goals. Czar compares the division within the vampire community to divisions within the LGBT community. It's like the LGBT community, he says. We keep subdividing to the fact that we're nothing more than alphabet soup. Unlike the mysterious vampires of haunting stories, real vampires are just regular people. I get a little bit cliche and tell people we're all around you because it's true, Czar says. We're husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, lovers. You might prefer Coke, whereas your friends prefer Pepsi. Czar happens to prefer blood type AB positive.
So, how does it feel to be a vampire doughboy?
I'm not a vampire. I don't know. You tell me.
The whole time you were reading that was what was up there.
Now, why the crap did you put that? No, it was not.
Yes, it was. I put it up there.
I saw you click it.
I did at the very beginning.
Click it.
Click it.
Now, why would you put the doughboy up?
Because it fit. It fit.
It didn't fit.
Yeah, fit. So, she's kind of attractive.
Yes, she is for a vampire. As vampires go.
Would you lick that blood off her?
No, I don't like the taste of blood. I don't think I would do that.
Yeah, I would.
Well,
Off of her lips. I would.
All right, Gene Simmons.
It is. We got 5 more minutes. We've covered this show tonight. This has been a wonderful evening of vampires and spirit boxes and all the above. We got a few more minutes. If anybody's got an idea of what they would like us to talk about next week, we'd like to keep Halloweened up here as we get into Halloween. I want to get Kevin to dress up. What is the Pillsbury Doughboy? Or what is
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, wait a minute. There's another one that would do good.
Come on, man.
Wait a minute. Yeah. This would be good for you. It'd be an easy costume.
All right, what else?
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's spell. Oh, here we go. Excuse me. Boy, I am
coughing all in my ears.
Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet, brother. Here we go. I found the perfect costume. Boy, excuse me.
Some coughing monster.
Yeah. Where that came. Oh man, I got a very difficult
coughing creature.
The coughing man. Where's it here? Where's it? Dang, oh, there it is. Right there. Okay, so if you don't go as a doughboy.
Look at this. The mission me. Hey. It's so pretty. Oh. This is what I'm going as right here.
What?
Michael Myers.
You're too big.
There I'm not too big.
You cannot fit. You cannot fit.
Discriminating. I fit in it before. I can fit it in again. I can do it. I've done it. It will happen. You son. It's happened before. Yes.
Yes.
Look at you, fat shaming, discriminating. There's no law that says a fat guy can't be Michael Myers.
Well, you're right. You're right. Wait a minute. Here we go. They want so they want us to do a series on horror comedy films.
Oh, horror comedy film.
And then we could do a coughing vampire.
We've already had that here all night, right over there.
Oh man, that was sinus stuff going on here. Because I need some blood.
You need some blood.
I have a need. Please help me. Help me.
Sorry, we ain't got no blood to donate to you.
Oh, I'm just gonna. You don't have to donate it. I'm gonna take it.
You're just gonna take it because you're just that kind.
Take it.
Just take it. Just take it.
Absolutely.
He don't care. He just takes and takes and takes.
So if you want to one of Kevin's books, it's myhauntedDolls.com. He's got 2 or 3 books that he's written over the years, including one that's clickbait called something about
A clickbait. Crimson the Blood Painting.
Crimson Tide or something.
It's not Crimson Tide. Look. Where's that damn picture? There it is. Crimson the Blood Painting.
Where's the painting? Where is that
It's
painting?
hanging on my wall in this room in there.
All right. And what's the book you're working on now?
It's called Dark Awakening and Other Tales for the Midnight Hour.
So have you done a book cover for it yet?
Yeah, I do. I don't have it here, but I played
on.
around.
I am fine. Seriously, I've got to sign a strange thing, and that's what it is. So instead of blowing my nose, I'm just coughing.
Just coughing all over everybody.
I'm alone. I'm by myself. So I'm not coughing on anybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to look for that. I'm getting close to the picture of me dressed up as Michael Myers. I'm getting close to it here.
Yeah, well, we got to come up with something else. Everybody does that.
No. Shut up.
La.
I can do it if I want. That's my favorite. Here's my Michael. Let me get it off here.
Kevin.
What?
Kevin,
Shut up.
What? You'll do what I tell you to do.
No, I won't do what you tell me to do. Here, let me
You're gonna
bring it up here.
Put on your tutu and twerk for us.
No, I'm not gonna put on no dang tutu and twirl for you.
Hey, there you go.
Here's
the Michael Myers twerking.
There. See?
Yeah, well,
that's me as Michael Myers.
Yes, by the way, Haunted Doll House, I do. And I've sent several wishing machines to Australia. Absolutely. In fact, we had on our show one of the guys that bought a wishing machine from me. I have shipped those to Dubai. I've shipped them to Germany. I've shipped them to Italy, several to Australia, Canada, Mexico, South Korea, Italy. I can't, UK, all over the world. I've shipped these wishing machines. Absolutely. And the easiest way that I've got set up, let me go over here and a quick, easy way. And I've got, if you go to the website, you can buy one on the website, wishdr.com. And also, where is this? I'm going to get over here. You can also find me on Etsy, and you can buy them on Etsy if you prefer.
Etsy, if you prefer.
Etsy. Where is? I don't even know how to get on my own Etsy account. I don't. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm going to share this link here down in the comment section that you asked. Right there.
Since you
There you go.
There it is.
There it is. You can get them right off Etsy as well. I sell a lot on Etsy.
On the screen.
Or you can get it right on the website. Either way, everybody, it's 9:01. Thank you for joining us tonight. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, look. You look good in Michael Myers.
Okay. You know, Christmas girl, you're very much a sweetheart, but you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie.
That's all right. Look at me right there.
You don't have to lie.
Good. Am I?
You know. Well, actually, you do look better there. Yes.
See that? I know what you're implying there.
I'm not implying anything.
Because I got a mask on.
That's it. Well, I've got to get out of this hot vampire suit.
Well, okay.
So all I can say is peace.
Peace.
Would you like a bite?
I don't want a bite.
Are you hungry?
No, I'm not hungry. You don't even have any teeth. You need pointy teeth.
What's your blood type?
None of your business. It's AAASS.
Yeah, it's ASS. Good night.
Good night.